NBC10 News starts now.
Just a sheet of rain in this camera right behind me. You can barely see anything. It should be a view of the center city skyline. Yeah, those downpours are coming down at this moment. Good morning. This is NBC10 News Today. I'm Rosemary Connors. Just after 6:30, we have issued a first alert because of the heavy rain, strong winds out there. Meteorologist Klei has some more details for us. Krystal?
Yeah, Rosemary, we're just watching now. A tornado warning has just been posted for parts of Gloucester and Camden County. That's the red box you see. This just popped up. In fact, I was just building my graphics before we went on air. So I'm going to step off to get some information on this for you guys. What you're seeing here is that arch. It almost looks like a W stretching into parts of South Jersey. That's a problem. When you have that kind of situation, that's when warnings go into a place because there's the potential for tornadoes to spawn. And the likelihood is that this may be radar indicated. I'm actually reading through the information right now. This is a line that is capable of producing both tornadoes or straight line wind damage. So if you are in parts of Gloucester County as well as parts of Camden County, these are the zones where you need to be taking cover immediately. I'm going to zoom in right now if I can with my system so that I can show you guys a little better detail. You saw this is in place through 7 a.m. So this is about a 30-minute warning. This is a good warning time for you folks. Let me turn off the radar so you can particularly see the box, and I'll zoom in a little closer to this area. So this is stretching just outside of Woolwich through parts of Paulsboro, Mullica Hill, Washington Township, Deptford Township, into Gloucester County, through Gloucester itself, into Burlington and Waterford up to Somerdale. If you are in this area, you need to take cover now. That's the central locations of your home with no windows in sight. If you have a basement, then that is where you need to go. Let me turn back on radar for every zone so we can see what we're watching here. Now, I don't see anything that we would call a hook echo yet. That's something that sometimes will indicate a tornado, but we're going to be closely watching this, and I'm going to actually put this into a loop right now so that we can see if there's any looks like any rotation moving through, and I don't see that currently, but I'm going to continue tracking this. We're going to try to maybe get us back up in a moment, but right now I'll send this back to you, Rosemary. Again, this is a tornado warning for parts of Gloucester and Camden counties.
Some severe weather out there. Krystal, we know you'll stay on top of it. In the meantime, you can always track this weather with the NBC10 app. NBC10 app. We will be sending you an alert 30 minutes before a storm may reach your area, so keep that with you throughout the day. We want to get back to meteorologist Klei right now. As she told you just moments ago, there is a tornado warning in effect for parts of South Jersey. Again, that severe weather moving through right now. Krystal, fill us in on the latest.
Yeah, so this is in parts of Gloucester and Camden County. You can see the red box. This is from West Deptford Township down to Mantua and to Washington Township, Gloucester all the way through to Waterford. So this is actually now, it looks like, creeping into parts of Burlington County as well. Through 7 a.m. this tornado warning is in place because the elements are in place for us to see the rotation necessary for a tornado to spin out or for us to see straight line wind damage. So right now is not the time to be worried about your vehicle or things in the backyard. Now is the time to take cover. It's to go to the central parts of your house, the basement if you have it. Be away from windows because this is when you may start to see serious trouble as we track this. Now, I'm going to step off here because I want to actually track the storm itself. What we do in this situation is we're watching for the elements that indicate rotation on radar. I don't see that right now, but that's not to say that that cannot happen at any moment. Especially, let me grab my drawing tool here and show you guys what the issue is. When you start to see two arches like we see right here, and those two combine right in areas like we see here, that's when you may have a problem. So we are watching this actively. I'm trying to pull up right now some of the information from the National Weather Service, who does a great job of informing us when these warnings come down. If there is indeed a radar indicated tornado, let me pull this open. This is in place through 7 a.m. for central Camden County into north central Gloucester County and southwestern Burlington County. This is all in southern New Jersey. This line capable of producing straight line wind damage as it continues to move along, moving at about 45 miles per hour. Now, they are saying radar has indicated rotation within this system, which is why this warning was put into place. But you can see, again, if you're watching right now wondering where's the warning, it's in parts of Camden and Gloucester County, clipping into parts of Burlington County. Let me zoom in a little closer. If you're not certain where you are on this map, let's get some more neighborhoods for us. We've got Berlin, Voorhees under this, Turnersville into Washington Township, Pittman to Mantua, Mullica Hill to East Greenwich, and Paulsboro. So we are looking at a good location here across several counties under this warning. We are watching for any rotation may be indicated on radar. This is the zone that I'm currently focused in most, especially right now Woolwich, because this is where we see two boundaries trying to come together. That's when you can have the rotation fire off. Not seeing any reports yet of any tornadic activity, but we are watching very closely on our radar for any information that may pop up. If you are in this area, you need to go to the lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, that is best. If not, go to the central part of your home. Maybe you've got a bathroom, you have a closet. Those are the areas you need to be in, away from windows, because when this kind of wind force moves in, it can blow out a window. Don't worry about trying to lift windows up. That's an old myth that people think is true to relieve some of the pressure. At that point, you're putting yourself in danger. You need to just get to a safe location, take cover, again, in Camden and Gloucester County specifically, and then clipping into Burlington County. This is in effect through 7 a.m. for the possibility of a tornado to spin off in this area or for straight line wind damage to occur. So again, pulling back to radar, you can see where the strongest line is now. It's passing through Gloucester City. It's already starting to move away from Woolwich, and it's passing through Pilesgrove as well. But areas like Glassboro and Gloucester are up next. So this heavy line of rain and the strong wind gusts associated with it are moving through. There is the possibility of tornadoes moving through this area, and this is where the warning is now in place. Don't forget, you can get our app to stay informed if you're going somewhere where you cannot watch a television anymore. If you're taking cover right now, our app is available online. That's going to have the updates. That's going to have our radar available. It'll give you the information you need to know about when this warning is lifted and when it is safe for you to, again, come back upstairs or exit that central room. So we'll get more information on this tornado warning. I'll continue to keep you posted. A close eye on radar for you. We'll be right back after this break.
Now your NBC10 First Alert weather.
And back to that tornado warning in place over parts of Gloucester and Camden County. You can see it stretching from the water's edge on Delaware River through Mantua to Gloucester and then out to Waterford. So this is all the way clipping into parts of Burlington County. This in effect through 7 a.m. We're looking at the possibility of damaging straight line winds as well as tornadoes to fire off as two boundaries are coming together in this area. If you are in that area, you need to take cover now. Grab your cell phone, leave the television, and go to the basement or find a middle room if you do not have a basement to go to. There's now another tornado warning that has been posted. This until 7:15 a.m. and this does clip through parts of Mercer County. So from Trenton through to West Windsor, just outside of West Windsor, and then this actually stretches all the way out to Long Branch along Ocean County. This in effect at this point till 7:15. Again, for the potential for tornadoes to spawn in these areas due to the moist air that we have in place and the warm air that we have in place hitting this line of storms that's been passing through. So I'm taking us back first to parts of Gloucester and Camden County. Look at these deep reds and oranges. This heaviest line is just slicing right through the area that is under that warning right now. I'm going to step off here because I want to take a closer look at some stuff for you and actively track this as it continues to move along. Now, the concern here, it appears to be more straight line winds because we don't see any hooks at this point, but I'm going to try to see if I can find another product for you guys that'll pull up something that can help us with forecasting where the tornadic activity may be. In the meantime, there's a look at the radar for us, and let's put this into motion if I can loop it here for parts of Trenton out through to East Windsor where we have another tornado warning in place. Again, if you are in these zones, you need to take cover right now. This is no longer the time to try to get stuff in the backyard or move your car indoors. This is the time when you now need to take cover for the safety of yourself and your family members. Let me pop this up for us. This is something called a velocity product, not something we would typically show on air, but this is something we show off on air because it shows the rotation sometimes in storms. And this is obviously why we are looking at the possibility of some tornadic activity moving through. When you see red and green coupled into each other, that's when we have issues. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This area here between Gloucester and Glassboro could be an area of concern. The same as we see areas like this. When you see that coupling of red and green together, that's when there may be problems because that means there are two separate wind directions right next to each other. A little confusing, but we're showing you this because I want you to know the areas that may be the biggest trouble zones. Let me zoom in a little closer. Washington Township under that tornado warning. Gloucester Township under that tornado warning. So we're looking at these areas with the possibility of tornadoes spawning off. I'm checking a few things at once here, so bear with me as I look through things to make sure that I've got the latest updates for you guys. Let's go back, if I can, to our view of radar through the Mercer County area. Our other tornado warning in place. This one in place through 7:15 this morning. This one giving me a little more concern when we start to see that curvature that you're seeing right here. That's a problem area for us. So if you're near East Windsor, these are zones where you need to be taking cover right now so that you can be safe. This is no longer a time to be watching at the television. Grab your phone, download the app if you want to as you get into your basement or a center room. We're talking small bathrooms, small closets, anything where you are not near any windows, as windows can blow out and injure you. Also, not the time to think that maybe you need to lift windows. In fact, that is an old wives' tale. You do not need to worry about that. In fact, it'll just put you in more danger. I'm trying to zoom in here for us so that we can get a closer look at our radar if we can get this into motion. So let's loop this through and we will zoom in for you.
And Krystal, as you're taking a look at the radar and as you're also keeping us posted on all of the alerts and warnings that are coming down from the National Weather Service, we should point out to our viewers that we had some tornadoes just in the area within the past week. So we certainly know that the potential is out there to have this kind of severe weather this time of year and the potential for damage.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. We had two tornadoes, one in Berks County, one in Sussex County. Those were both, fortunately, in areas where there were not a lot of people at the time and there were no deaths as a result. These are more populated areas, so we've got a bigger concern right now. And this is why we're doing wall-to-wall coverage, just letting you know about where these storms are. So let's go back through a few things here. I was just grabbing one of my products, pulling it down into my system, so we've got a lot of detail for you. Here's the view of the first tornado warning in place through 7 a.m., so we've still got about another 14 minutes here. This is through Gloucester and Camden County into Burlington County. If you're looking at this map and you are unsure if this includes you, let's zoom in and we'll look at all of the neighborhoods under this warning. So this is Paulsboro through to East Greenwich, then down to Pittman, Washington Township to Turnersville, Stratford to Somerdale, Voorhees to Berlin, Waterford, and then just outside of Medford Lake. So you can see down to the road here where this warning is in place. If you were in these neighborhoods, you need to be taking cover right now. You need to grab the phone, walk away from the television, and get to your lowest location possible away from windows. Now let's go to our other tornado warning. This is just slicing through parts of Mercer County here, but it does cut right near Trenton, Hamilton Square. We zoom in a little closer. You see it is through Robbinsville, East Windsor Township, and Twin Rivers. Before we zoom this out, and you see it starts to cut into parts of Ocean County and out to Long Branch. These are the two tornado warnings in place. This one's in effect through 7:15. We'll go back to radar now. So here's the look, the deepest reds, the oranges. These are the areas of the heaviest rain that's slicing through. It's also the area where we may see that tornado spawn off right against the line. So looking at areas like Glassboro and Gloucester right now under the main threat. But coming up, Williamstown and Waterford as this continues to move along to the east. So just because maybe it doesn't sound like the rain is hitting as heavy as it was a moment ago, you're not in the clear yet. This is in effect through 7 a.m. through parts of Camden and Gloucester County. Like I was mentioning earlier, sometimes we'll look for things that indicate rotation. Now, I don't see that right now. Let me turn on our hail tracks if I can get that up and see if I get any other indication. Hail tracks not showing up much here either, which is actually a good sign. When you see hail tracks, that's sometimes a little stronger updraft in a storm. That indicates possibly the better strength for us to see tornadic activity. Let's turn it on again here and turn off our radar. Again, that's a good sign that we're not seeing much, but we are seeing some lightning over Mercer County. This is an area where we are also under a tornado warning, this one through 7:15, and this cuts right past Trenton through Robbinsville and then up and into parts of Ocean County. What we're watching here is a couple of things. We want radar to indicate rotation. That would give us an idea of a tornado moving through. Now, I don't see what we would typically call a hook echo forming over parts of Gloucester and Camden County at this point. Now, that's not a promise that you won't have a tornado. That's why this warning is in place. But we do see a little more of an edge over parts of Mercer County, and this is what we're watching closely. Any possibility, especially right here near West Windsor. This is an area that we are watching. You see how strong and heavy the rain is in that area. That indicates it's a very strong storm that's passing through that zone. Give me a moment here. I'm going to check real quickly to see if we've got any more updates from what we were looking at a moment ago. Still under the same two warnings. We have no changes to those two. Let me turn on our velocity product again, because again, this shows off something that as meteorologists, we sometimes take a closer look at to see where there is a exchange of wind direction from the radar site. Now, this might sound a little confusing, but what you need to know is when we see the coupling of reds and greens, like you do see now moving through parts of Camden County, that's a bad sign. You do not want to see the reds and greens up against each other like we do see in a few spot areas. So these zones near Waterford and Gloucester, your areas that are under that tornado warning and your areas that need to take cover if you have not done so already. So there's the look again at the tornado warning over Camden, Gloucester County into Burlington County. These are the zones where if you have not done so already, or if you have family in these areas, you need to call the family and tell them if they're not aware they need to be taking cover right now. The lowest levels of the house, a basement, or at least the first floor of the home, a central room such as a bathroom or a closet, maybe a stairwell under something, you can definitely hide out in those locations until this warning is ceased. If you're wondering how will I know this, you've got your cell phones on you. Download the app if you don't have it. This will have the updates. We'll also be trying to post to social media as quickly as we can as we continue to track. Now we're looking again at the Mercer County tornado warning. This is through 7:15 this morning. See, it's just a slice of parts of Mercer County, but then it cuts all the way down to Long Branch because this storm, this line is going to hold together and it is capable of firing off those tornadoes as it continues to move through. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. We're going to continue updating you as the warning continues to move forward. Right now, Rosemary.
All right, and Krystal, we should point out to our viewers, of course, that we've got some severe weather, heavy rain that's been passing through in other parts of our region. So Krystal just told us about those tornado warnings in New Jersey, Camden, Gloucester counties, and then parts of Mercer County. Let's take a live look outside in South Philadelphia. No tornado warning here in South Philly. However, as you can see, we've got some cloudy skies out there, some strong winds and heavy rain that have passed through the areas. Krystal's been telling us all morning long, this severe weather that's pushing through, it's going to be relatively brief. However, it has the potential to be very powerful. Another live look here down Broad Street in Center City, Philadelphia. Again, the tornado warning that we've been telling you about that's in place until 7 o'clock this morning. That's for South Jersey, parts of Gloucester and Camden counties. And then also there's a tornado warning in effect until about 7:15, as Krystal's been telling us, through parts of Mercer County. Philadelphia right now, as you can see, just drenched. Heavy downpours that came through within the past hour. Krystal's been updating us, showing us what's on first alert radar, and then also keeping us posted with the alerts coming through from the National Weather Service. Krystal, any more details you can fill us in on?
Well, Rosemary, we're continuing to watch the setup that was moving through right now, that line of strong storms. Let me switch back over to radar for you folks. And what we're seeing here is that line is just continuing to power on through. It has not lost any of its strength. Now, let me show you the two areas that are under the tornado warnings. Right there, that X I just drew through Mercer County. And then right here, this X I'm drawing through parts of Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester County. But if I erase that and I draw our storm tracker line, this line has been holding strength and it is still continuing to move to the east. So this line of strong storms, here's the timing of it. It continues to move forward. Middletown, about 7:24 this morning, Lakewood by around 7:30, and by 8 o'clock to Ship Bottom. And it looks like it will hold the strength, which means that if you have not yet seen a heavy downpour in your neighborhood, it is likely coming your way as this continues to move forward. Now, there are not warnings out for these locations, but just a heads up, this is a storm that's capable of producing these straight line wind damage as well as tornadic activity. So here's the look again at your radar and satellite view. First off, where the warnings are. This is Camden, Gloucester County into Burlington County. If you're watching saying, I can't tell if my neighborhood is under that box, let's go a little closer. So we've got Deptford Township to Paulsboro, East Greenwich to Mullica Hill, Pittman to Washington Township, Turnersville to Berlin, and Voorhees to Waterford. This also stretches just outside of Medford Lake and Evesham Township as we get to parts of Burlington County. So if you are in that area, you need to take cover. Can't say this enough. Even if you think, we heard this before, nothing happened. Every storm is different. You need to take cover when you're under these warnings. Now we're looking at the separate warning. The separate warning in effect to 7:15. The one in Gloucester and Camden County in effect till 7. So in Trenton area, right outside of Trenton to Hamilton Square through to East Windsor, and then actually stretching all the way out to Long Branch through Ocean County under this tornado warning as well, as we have a spot cell that is possible to spew off a tornado or, again, some straight line wind damage. Let's take a look here. Looks like the tornado warning for Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester County has just been expired. Let me open this up and make sure I'm reading this properly. Sometimes our system doesn't get the info in quite as quickly as the computer system I'm using to the left, which is off screen for you guys. Yes, it looks like this has just been expired, but that does not mean that this is not a storm that could not still produce strong, damaging winds. So if you were in the Gloucester, Camden, Burlington County area, no longer under a tornado warning, but still the possibility of damaging winds. Notice, though, from that deep dark red now to an orange. That means it is weakened just a tad. That is a good sign, but we are still under that tornado warning through Mercer County, and that warning is in effect through 7:15. What we're looking at to indicate if there is a tornado moving through is something sometimes called a hook echo. That's when it looks kind of like a hook on radar, and that indicates some rotation. Something else that I will look for is on our velocity mode, a coupling of red and green on a map. And now the good news is I don't see a lot of that throughout Mercer County, although we do see just this little area here to the east of East Windsor that may have some trouble in that zone. So these are the lines of storms we are watching right now. If you are in Mercer County, you need to make sure that you do take cover as this continues to press through. And you can see where I was just talking near East Windsor, some of the heaviest rain is moving through there. So we are watching this storm, the warning for the tornadic activity in effect through 7:15. Even if a tornado does not fire off, we may see straight line wind damage that can cause just as much problems as what we see in tornadoes. So we are watching this actively and will continue to update everyone.
And we just got an update from our newsroom, Krystal, that power is out at all Patco stations. So in South Jersey, no surprise there as these strong winds and heavy rain moves through.
Absolutely, and these gusts can certainly cause damage whether or not a tornado is formed. This is in Mercer County, still under a warning. The warning that was in Gloucester, Camden, Burlington County has been lifted, but that line of storms is still strong. It could still cause damage, and this line is progressing along to the shore through, say, 8 a.m. So we've got another hour or so of this heavy rain as well as the potentially damaging wind. So this is something we've got to watch very closely. How about if we in the back can do this? I'm not sure if we can, but because this is a freeze frame of just the Mercer County area, do we have the Max 3s available? If it is, great, we'll take it. If not, that's fine. But we are looking at that line. There it is. You can see it's stretching all the way across our region from Mercer County all the way down through parts of Kent and Sussex County. Now, those areas, it's not quite as strong. So Cape May County, not likely to see as big of issues, but Atlantic County still good, as well as we move through Cumberland County. So these are areas we're still actively watching right now.
The good news is you can see from this view is that it is moving out, as you've been telling us. This is going to be brief, but nonetheless could be very powerful. Of course, we'll be assessing the damage throughout the day. We should also point out to our viewers, this is the very reason why we issue first alerts. We do that usually a day, maybe 2 days in advance to give you a heads up that we could have severe weather. And that's what we've been doing leading up to this morning. Krystal and I will see you right back here during cut-ins throughout the Today Show. The Today Show starts at 7 o'clock. Have a good one. We'll see you shortly.